But so far, normally when people ask me about sustainability, they talk about our own consumption. But internally, we spend much more time on the claim side. So if you, for instance, look at the CO2 that we save repairing windscreens instead of replacing them, it's the double amount that the total consumption of Tryg. So we are working with used spare parts. We try to repair bumpers instead of replacing them, stuff like that. And I think the very good way, and the way that we could also spend a lot of time with this, because we can also see that we have some customers that really want it, but we can also see some opportunities for saving some money, actually repairing the bumpers instead of replacing them. So I think claims is where we will spend a lot of time in the future, and maybe also we will spend some time helping our customers getting more sustainable.
So Lars, thanks so much for coming down. It's great to meet you and great to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation.
It's great. So let's just start. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Lars Bonde. I've been working for Tryg for many years. The last 16 years I've been a part of the executive management team. So what I've done through all those years is mainly running an insurance business and making sure that we have a very strong and making strong financial results. I also have some. I'm also responsible for some of the staff areas, HR, IT, innovation. So I guess that's why you have invited me.
Indeed. So today we're here to talk a little bit about how technology is impacting the insurance industry. So we've seen a lot of changes happening across financial services in general, but we get to hear less about what's happening in insurance through the advent of technology. So can you tell us a little bit about how technology is impacting Tryg specifically?
I think the two most important things that the one is digitalization. We need to be more and more digital. We have to serve our customers in a digital way. They demand that. It's easier for us, it's easier for the customer. So digitalization is definitely one of the main drivers of the change in insurance. I think the other one is data. There are becoming more and more data in the world. Insurance has always been based on data. Our business model is actually taking data, a lot of data, and try to use that for calculating a risk price for a customer. So we've been used to handling a lot of data. We have always been fighting to get more data, get more knowledge about our customers and about our risk. But the amount of data is increasing dramatically, and I think that's a huge change for insurance as well.
Right, and so that brings me to the next question. We hear about this concept of open data, which basically allows customers to determine who can access specific data that they have. How is that particularly impacting the business model of insurance?
I think that is a quite difficult question to answer. It looks like the EU is quite fond of the open banking legislation. I think that we must expect to have some rules about open data for insurance as well. Rumors are saying it's going to come at the end of this year. I haven't heard any rumors what the rules are going to be, but it's quite clear that in my opinion, it had to be some of the more objective data that we should share, because if we should share how we use data for calculating prices, that would be our secret sauce, and then there would be no competition in insurance.
Right.
So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see what kind of data we have to share. But while we're waiting and while we have to find out how the rules are going to be in the future, I think what we are doing in Tryg is maybe not trying to prepare for open data, but in general try to prepare for more data and more sharing data in general. So we try to build what we call Tryg 360, which is our our new way of organizing data so all the business units could use it in an effective way.
Right.
We build our systems with open APIs because we can see that we already have to share data with our partners. We try to find out which ecosystems we should be a part of, and then we try to. Now I have to be sure about the word. We build a system where we can organize and have control of our customers' consent, samtykke.
Okay.
So we know when and with who we can share data.
Right.
So while we are waiting for rules or legislation, we are already trying to do a lot of things about data. But that is originally just to run or improve our business.
Right.
And then we must see what come up from Europe. But I'm quite sure that it's going to be something about sharing more objective data.
Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now you touched a little bit about having APIs to work with your partners. So my question to you is, how is a company like Tryg working with the insuretech companies, and whether there's something that the insurance industry can learn from the previous attempts of other financial institutions to partner up with fintechs, for example?
We work together with different startup companies. We have this the camp out in Tryg, which is a co-working space that I think actually we started that in 2016.
Okay.
So we have a lot of different companies being through the camp, the campers we call them, for a lot of years. We are cooperating with Rainmaking, which are also a part of Fintech Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So that is a way that we are cooperating with startups. We are not only cooperating with the campers or companies sitting in our co-working space, but we try to learn something about the way they are working. We have also taken our own innovation people. They are also sitting in the same area, so we try to learn something about. I think we have learned something about how big projects should be, how to make minimal viable products, how to make A/B tests. So that is a way that we have tried to learn from the startup environment. We have also we have a small or we have an insurance company called Undo, which we own together with the founders and Rainmaking as well.
Yeah.
That is. The original idea was to try to see how would it be to be a born digital insurance company. So that is a couple of cooperation that we have. At the moment we are working together with a small company in the camp that's called Procure. They have invented a high-tech vest, and people should wear it when they work. And then the vest collect a lot of data, and the whole idea is to try to use the data to avoid claims from happening. So, for instance, you can avoid having back injuries or stuff like that.
Wow.
So we have been testing that together with a couple of big Danish companies, and now we try to find a way to commercialize this and put it into our workman compensation product in general. So that is another example of how we are working together with insuretech, or that's not an insuretech, but a tech company.
Wow, that's really advanced. If we look at what happened in banking and specifically in payments, we saw that when digitalization started and when some of the early fintechs started to enter the market, they were going after the payment because that was like the low-hanging fruit. Is there a specific line within insurance that could be more ripe for disruption, say, with technology?
I think that the less complicated product would normally be the easy ones to go for. It still needs a lot of, we have a lot of legislation, we have a lot of rules, we have to be compliant in insurance is quite difficult. So even if you choose to go for one of the more simple products, you need to fulfill all the rules and all the compliance stuff as well. Right. So I think there's going to be no really low-hanging fruits. It's going to be difficult to start an insurance company. You need to have a lot of capital, you need to have control of all the things that negotiators say that you should do. And that's definitely coming more, and that are coming more and more rules all the time. So it's not going to be easier. But I think if you should talk about a low-hanging fruit, it would be some of the less complicated products, like for instance travel insurance.
Yeah, right. And I think that connects nicely with the next question I have for you, which is that we've seen a lot of changes in customer behaviors and also in the market, brought about by the pandemic and also by changing customer expectations. So how is Tryg adapting to these changes that are external changes to its business model?
I think there's maybe a couple of different angles on that. One could be the digitalization, which I already mentioned. Our customers expect that we could handle more and more of their insurance problems digitally. We are, for instance, building a new claims system. We have already, the last 5 years, tried to have more and more claims. We want to have our customers to report the claims digitally, and we want to build those straight-through processing solutions, which mean that if you, for instance, are reporting a travel claim, you will have the compensation after a couple of minutes because it's a straight-through process.
Wow.
So we are aiming for 80% of our claims reports should be digital, and 40% of the total number of claims should be straight through.
Are there any other trends, like for example the sharing economy, where people are owning less things that are perhaps impacting the way in which you approach the market?
We have been working together with a lot of sharing economy companies. There have been a lot of them have opened and closed again, so we have actually made insurance solutions for a lot of them. I'm not sure that have been very good insurance business, to be honest, because they're quite small. But I think the reason why we have said to our business areas, okay, we need to come up with some solution, is because normally insurance is for 1 year, and I think it is quite good for try to make insurance in another way. And for instance, when we are making insurance for Happy Helper, it's for 1 hour maybe, and I think it's another way of making insurances. So that is actually the reason why we have cooperated with a lot of sharing economy companies. We are working together with GoMore. I actually been the chairman of the sharing. There was a governmental advisory board about sharing economy where I've been the chairman. I think that was because we have been working a lot with this, making insurance solution for them. And I think if you talk about sharing economy, insurance is a part of the solution, because if you're not sure about how you get compensation or if you will have insurance, you will not share your products or your car, your bicycle, stuff like that. So I think insurance is actually an important part of sharing economy. And as I mentioned, we have been working together with a lot of the sharing economy companies.
Yeah. Okay, and let's take a step back and look at the industry as a whole. In your view, what are the main challenges that the insurance industry is facing at the moment?
Of course, inflation is a problem. When we are, if we have to, we have to see what's going to happen with the prices in 2 years from now, and we have to calculate the price now and actually get the money from the customers now, to be sure what happens the next couple of years. That is at the moment very, very difficult.
Right.
And of course, we are spending a lot of time internally discussing what is actually happening with inflation. And I was meeting some of our investors in London last week. That was also one of the questions that they have been asking all the time.
Right.
So inflation is, if you are in insurance and not afraid of inflation, you're stupid. We have to pay a lot of attention to inflation.
Yeah.
I think another area that you need to be aware of is all the rules. You can see that there will be new rules all the time. Maybe there will come some EU legislation about open data, and maybe there will come something about how to use AI. we can see that there would be something about environmental things. So I think the demands for reports, the way that we control, the way that we are publishing different things is constantly increasing. So we need to work more and more with compliance. And if you go back some years, we have a no-fault policy or no. We used to have no faults, but that's not possible anymore because there's constantly coming new rules, and if you have GDPR and never have a data leak, that's not possible.
We hear that a lot, that it's really a challenge in keeping up with compliance, regulatory compliance, because of the onslaught of regulation.
So I think that's a couple of issues that we are struggling with at the moment, and we have just bought a huge company. We have bought an English company called Royal Alliance together with a Canadian partner. So that was for us in Tryg a huge transaction, and we have finished what was called the demerger at the 1st of April this year. So we are spending a lot of time how to get the two organizations together. So that will be a challenge for Tryg in the coming years. And of course, even if we are now 7,000 people in Tryg, but we have learned during this process that we are a small company for a huge transaction.
Right.
And that means that we have spent the last couple of years of this M&A transaction, and that also means that there are some other things that we haven't worked with. So we need to increase, for instance, the time that we are spending working with our agile development and stuff like that.
Right. So. Let's move on to talk about something that's really close to the heart of most Nordic countries, which is sustainability. We know that there's a whole set of regulations coming into play this year in regards to sustainability and ESGs. So the first question I have for you on this regard is the insurance industry able to contribute in a particular way towards the achievement of ESG related goals?
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what would be the ESG goals, because if you look at insurance and our own CO2 consumption, it's, I think for Tryg in total is 2,000 tons a year, quite small. So, but of course we should consider how much we fly, the cars we use, how we heat up our buildings, stuff like that. But where we really can make an impact is on the claim side, because we are buying a lot of car repairs in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Right. So if you can control that or help our repair shops to be more sustainable, that would definitely lead to something. But so far, normally when people ask me about sustainability, they talk about our own consumption. But internally, we spend much more time on the claim side. So if you, for instance, look at the CO2 that we save repairing windscreens instead of replacing them, it's the double amount that the total consumption of Tryg. So we are working with used spare parts. We try to repair bumpers instead of replacing them, stuff like that.
Right.
And I think it here actually helps us to be a Nordic company, because our Norwegian customers have been more focused on that for a longer period. So they are actually saying, no, I don't want to have a new door on my car. You have to repair the one that or buy a used spare part instead, because I don't want to have a new door sent from US to Norway. That's too much CO2 consumption. I want another solution. So we have to, some of our customers are actually demanding it. And I think the very good way, and the way that we could also spend a lot of time with this, because we can also see that we have some customers that really want it, but we can also see some opportunities for saving some money, actually repairing the bumpers instead of replacing them. So
Right.
So I think claims is where we will spend a lot of time in the future, and maybe also we will spend some time helping our customers getting more sustainable.
Right, so it's not just regulation, it's also that the customers are demanding sustainable solutions, and that it's good for business.
Yeah.
Right, that's really interesting.
And I think actually that's much more interesting because if you only do things to save the world, maybe it's not on the top 3 all the time. If you're doing this because customers want it and because it's good for the P&L, then it's also very good for sustainability or for society, but that's make it much more easy to work with in the organization.
Of course, that's a really interesting perspective. And then I've got a last question for you, which is more in relation to the future. So, what can we expect to see from Tryg within the next 3 to 5 years?
As I mentioned already, we have to we are in the middle of this huge M&A transaction, so we have to build one company, one culture.
Yeah.
So we're gonna spend a lot of time on that. We have been out in November last year, to the capital market saying what they could expect to get in 24. And I think our technical result in 21 was 3.7 billion, and we have promised to deliver between 7 and 7.4 in 24.
Right.
So that was what you can expect. Of course, we also have a lot of other KPIs about sustainability or about customer satisfaction, but I think the main focus for the investors, of course, would be on the technical result. And then I think you should expect to see a lot of new ideas and a lot of new products coming out. In the last 20 period, we for the first time set a target for building a portfolio of new products, because the last 20 period we developed the strategy for, I think it was a 2020 strategy, and we developed that back in 16, 17. At that time we were very afraid about the self-driving cars, and afraid that some of our original business will decline. We were also a bit afraid of all the IoT solution. Maybe they should lead to a fewer number of claims on houses, stuff like that. Therefore, we decided to be public that we want to build a portfolio of new products at a billion. And we said it out loud because we know that also increased the internal focus.
Yeah.
The camp was a part of that as well. We put a co-working space in the middle of our head office in Ballerup to show that we have to do something different. We have to start developing. Insurance is not the most innovative business. Actually, I think we are among the lowest. So we decided that we want to be the most innovative company in the Nordic. So actually, we do all this to protect our top line. To be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe here 5 years later, you can see there's no self-driving cars. Then they're not just around the corner.
Right.
IoT is not really changing, and so maybe I think our assumptions were maybe it wasn't wrong, but at least the timing was. But what we have experienced during this period, that because we developed more than 50 new products in the strategy period, we have a lot to talk to our customers about. And when you talk a lot to your customers, they normally buy more and stay longer.
Right.
And our employees were more satisfied, and our P&L was better than ever. So actually, innovation ended up being extremely good business for Tryg, and therefore we again in this strategy period have set a target for products new from the number of portfolio that we should build from new products. This time at 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
So we will continue that way, and therefore you should expect to see a lot of new ideas and a lot of new products from Tryg.
Well, that's wonderful. I have to say, we don't often talk to incumbents that are so courageous and so committed to innovation. So it's great to hear. It's very refreshing.
And again, it's not only about innovation. It's because we can see that it's shown up to be a very good business.
Absolutely.
So I think our growth has never been higher. Our customer satisfaction have never been higher. Our employee satisfaction has never been higher. Of course, I don't think innovation is the only reason, but it's a part of the things that we have done to change Tryg and trying to be more focused on growth and innovation.
Yeah, it seems to me that it's more the result of a cultural mindset that the organization has that obviously results in taking this.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Well, Lars, we thank you so much for spending time with us today.
It was a pleasure.
And,
thank you for the invitation.